Good afternoon and hello to my Facebook family. My name is Rhea Cotton. I'm a real estate broker owner in California, here located at Cotton Core Spaces in Berkeley. And welcome to Credit and Cocktails. So hope you have your cocktails ready, sitting back and ready to hear some great information. Today we have Mr. Eric Frazier, who will join us today. And our Credit and Cocktails topic is the power budget. So welcome, Eric. I'm glad to have you on today. I really appreciate you being here. And also, I just want to thank you for helping me step up my Facebook game and get live through our webinars so that people can enjoy what you have to say today and in the future. So I'll let you take it over from here, Eric.
Well, thank you very much, Rhea, for the opportunity to not only partner with you and helping you step up your Facebook game, but also to speak to your audience, your past clients, your future clients about credit. It's so important for us to understand credit and utilize credit the right way. Now, I'm hearing some feedback, and so I'm going to, I shouldn't mute my mic. You might want to mute your mic. So that we don't hear that feedback.
No problem.
So it's important for real estate agents to utilize Facebook and social media to get the word out, because that's where the millennials are. That's where everyone is, really. And it's important that we talk about issues that are preventing people from home ownership. And that's what we try to do here at The Power Is Now. The Power Is Now is a multimedia education company specializing in real estate, lending, banking, and financial services. And every week I am live on Facebook 3 times a week, and now YouTube as well, to talk about credit, loan programs, and things of that nature, to help people understand what it takes to become a homeowner and to stay a homeowner. So I have a PowerPoint presentation, Rhea, that I'm going to share. And I'll share my screen right now. And I want to invite those who are listening or watching to please ask any questions about the topic today. We're going to be talking about the power budget. And the power budget is just my way of saying that the budget needs to be real. It needs to be a very big part of your life, living by a budget. And nobody wants to do it, but everybody needs to do it if they want to be successful. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Eric Frazier. I'm the president and CEO of The Power Is Now. I'm a licensed real estate broker, and my license number with the state of California is 011-43485. And I'm a licensed real estate mortgage broker as well, and my license number is 461-807. The Power Is Now is a media company, but we're also a real estate and a mortgage company, and my license number as a real estate company is 1980407, and as a mortgage company, our license number is 1435243. The power budget is really the key to success for all of us. I live on a budget. Most of the people I know, particularly in my family, we're all dealing with, are living with a budget. Here's the reality. Budgets are kind of like decisions. Either you make a decision or decision is going to be made for you. You know, you are living on a budget, whether you know it or not. The question is, are you aware of it? Are you aware of what your budget is? And is your budget aligned with your goals? So I want to share some more about The Power Is Now and, of course, our mission and vision, and to help those of you who maybe, need help to getting in position to buy a home, to, saving the money, getting their credit in place. And we have a number of programs to help people not only just establish a budget, but also to stay in that budget. So a little bit about myself and the company. We've been a media company since 2009. The Power Is Now Media. And that media company represents a national magazine, which you can find on our website, thepowerisnow.com. Also a national radio show. We've been on Blog Talk Radio since 2011, over 1 million downloads. We've been producing a monthly magazine since 2013. And then we have these two divisions, a real estate and the mortgage division, to assist people with taking that knowledge they're getting from the radio shows, the magazine, and the online shows that we do to become homeowners. As a mortgage company, we're a full service mortgage company. We focus in on first time home buyers, but we can do any type of transaction, construction to commercial. We work with churches, nonprofits, just about anything that a person may need. I've been in the business for 26 years, 16 years as a broker. I'm the president and CEO of the Powers Now, and I'm also the co-founder of Fraser Group Realty. My daughters and wife have a girls club, which happens to be a real estate company. I'm not involved. They're running the show, and Fraser Group Realty will celebrate close to 12 years now in downtown Riverside. I'm the past president of the Orange County Realtors, which is a chapter of the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and currently the executive director, and a member of the California Association of Real Estate Brokers. My greatest claim to fame, though, is being married for 36 years with 4 incredible daughters. My Nubian queen, Ruby, I don't know how we did it, but my youngest daughter just graduated in December with a degree in fashion merchandising, and the other 3 daughters have degrees in business and really basically degrees in business, and with master's degrees in business administration. So I'm very proud that they are all educated now, and we're done. We're empty nesters right now. We are done. When you have put all your kids to college, I'm serious, you're done. And that's how I feel. I am done. Now, our youngest needs to go to graduate school, and so we're trying to get her to get that done now. Don't take off a year, just get it done. And so all 4 kids will have degrees, master's degrees. 3 are all in the real estate business. The youngest is not, but she's working on a license and will be joining the girls with Fraser Group Realty. I'm a graduate of Redlands University, which is a neighboring city to Riverside. We've been out here in Riverside for 16 years. My undergrad is in business administration. My master's is in finance. 36 years as a lender. So I've been in the business of lending as long as I've been married, and 26 years as a real estate broker. The mission of our organization is to inspire, educate, and empower both real estate professionals. We love partnering with real estate professionals like Rhea and helping them educate their clients and support them in growing their business to build wealth and to support consumers in building wealth through real estate. Real estate is the primary driver for building wealth, especially among minorities. We, as African Americans, Latinos, we're not in oil and gas, stocks and bonds. We are in real estate. If we're in it at all, we happen to have the lowest rate of homeownership among all ethnic groups. For African Americans, it's 41%. For Latinos, it's in about the 46% range. And that's nationwide. Here in California, our homeownership rate is 35%. And Latinos is around 38%. And so we have a long ways to go in building wealth. And because we don't own a home right now, the wealth gap between Caucasians and minorities is about $500,000, projected to be over $1 million over the next 30 years. And so becoming a homeowner is like the number one priority every family member, every individual should have. And our mission is to provide information, education, and support for everyone to do that. Our vision, and that is where we see ourselves as an organization, is to be the resource for both real estate professionals and consumers to build wealth and to achieve their personal and business goals. More importantly, to leave an inheritance. I know that, Rhea, you have children. I have children. When I die, and God forbid, if it be too soon, I want to live to be 103 at least. But I want to leave massive wealth, real estate, money. I want to leave wealth to give my kids and my grandkids a leg up that we have not had as a people for generations. And this is something that has to change, but that change starts with us. And so the power is now. It really is to build wealth. The power is now to get your life together, to start to live on a budget, start saving money. And we believe that we are at our best and we maximize our success when we act now. Procrastination is of the devil. It robs us of opportunity. And I can just think of many opportunities I've had in the past where I procrastinated or I just failed to do it. And I ended up paying the price for it. And so the power to act is now. The power is now to own real estate. It really is, because interest rates are rising. And with rising interest rates come rising property values. Already, every year, probably every minute, you see those commercials about someone dying every 3 seconds or something happening to somebody every 2 seconds. I believe that probably every minute somebody is being priced out of the market, out of their communities, and buying a home because of rising prices and rising interest rates. And so the pathway to power and wealth is to own real estate. And we have a program called Never Rent Again, where we actually help people do that. We help you with a budget. In fact, it's called the Home Buyers Club. It's a club. We help you establish a budget. And today I'm going to go over the budget in detail. We help you with a debt elimination plan, a savings plan, and a credit restoration plan. And we do all of this for free. We get you completely set up for free. And now it's up to you to stay on the plan and to achieve the goals so that you'll be in a position to buy a home. Now, if you know you and you find it difficult to stay in on a plan, some people are that way, then you can sign up for our coaching program where there's a cost involved. Yes, Ria, you had a question.
I was agreeing.
Oh.
I need to stay on the plan.
You're right. I mean, there's some of us, we love to start things. In fact, I've taken personality tests, and I'm a start cycle guy. That's what I am. I can start anything. I don't like to finish things. And so I have to surround myself with people because I don't like the details. I like the big picture. I want to get it started, and I want to turn it over to someone else that can take it all the way through. If I don't do that, someone has to stay on me to get it done. Otherwise, it won't get done. And so I know I'm not alone and people like that. And so we have a program for people to do that, to keep them on task, to hold them accountable. Now, this again is called Never Rent Again. Please go to neverrentagain.com if you're interested in the program, whether it be the free program or the paid program. We're trying to achieve 5 things in the program and in the wealth initiative. Number 1, knowledge, because knowledge is power, and you need power. You need, in order to have power, you need to save money. You need to be able to buy real estate. You need, most importantly, the knowledge to do those things. And so knowledge always comes before the money, or the money will soon be gone. And just talk to anyone who's won a big lotto and now they're bankrupt. Talk to sports players who get those big contracts, and after a few years in the league, they're bankrupt. And so you need to have the knowledge, you need to have people around you to support you. Number 2, a commitment to financial independence, and that is we must take individual responsibilities for our lives. That means discipline, and discipline, requires you to have a budget, and it requires you to be accountable. And you just have to kind of look at your life. Have you been disciplined to do the things that you know you need to do? Have you lived on a budget? Is there anybody that can hold you accountable, right, to do the things you're supposed to do? And number 3 is investment in real estate, and that's really learning to prioritize our ownership of real property as opposed to personal property. I can't tell you how many. I see hundreds of applications a month. It's rare do I see someone who's applying to buy a home that doesn't have a car payment. It seems like everybody has a car payment. And on top of having a car payment, it's a big car payment. I'm talking $500, $600, $800. That's right. I've seen renters with car payments as high as $1,000. And so we want people to focus on saving and spending their money on things that appreciate and not things that depreciate, like cars. Number 4 is financial and credit management, learning to live within our means and not abuse credit. Credit is not income, but that's how many people treat it. They treat it as income when in fact it's a convenience for cash. That's what it really is. But when you use it for income, this is how your credit cards get to the limit, and then you get another one, and you get another one, and before you know it, you're tens of thousands of dollars in debt, and you're not able to, and your credit score now begins to drop because you're utilizing too much of your credit, and you have too much credit, and because you're adding debt, you're probably not paying it on time, and so it ends a bad credit. So good credit is the beginning of building wealth, and good credit starts at 720, and great credit is between 800 to 850. Now, but you don't have to have 720 credit to buy a home. Your credit score could be as low as 580 to buy a home, but having a credit score of at least 620 will help you get into a home. Let me check something here. I noticed something that the color is a little, I'm looking a little orange. So let me see if I can fix that. All right. Now, the other thing, the fifth thing is that creating wealth, we must save money to buy real estate and other assets. And the goal here is to buy and hold, and then perhaps sell in order to buy and hold again. You don't build wealth by selling real estate. You build wealth by acquiring real estate and acquiring as much as you can over time. And so those are the 5 initiatives we want to achieve with the program. We also have a pledge. It's on our homepage at thepowersnow.com. Take the pledge. Have a Bible on your right hand. Put your right hand on your heart, the other hand on the Bible. And these are 10 pledges, Aria, 10 pledges we want people to take because we believe change has to start first up here, right? Until you change your mind and your thinking, you're not going to be able to change your life. So it's called the 10-Point Wealth Building Pledge. It's on the homepage, and we encourage you to take the pledge. Now, for those who are interested in, once you understand what it takes to, buy a home and you are ready to move forward with RIA, you're going to need a loan. And we certainly hope that you'll consider using the Power is Now. Go to Apply to Buy Now. We can show you many options to help you start building wealth with zero to no money down programs. So the question is, though, do you have a budget? Do you have a plan? So the reality is that if you do not have a budget, then you don't have a plan. That's really the reality. If you are not living on a budget, if you don't have a written budget, then you really do not have a plan to save money, a plan to build wealth, a plan to buy a home, a plan. It all starts with a budget. And the Power Budget is a promise, is what it is, and a plan. Before you can have a budget, you really have to get used to keeping agreements and promises. Do you do that as a rule? What is a promise? It's a statement telling someone that you're definitely going to do something. A statement that something will definitely happen in the future. A declaration of future success or improvement. A reason to expect that something will happen in the future because of a commitment and a plan. And so people who are not used to keeping commitments in general, some indication would be they're always late. They never follow through. They don't ever do what they say they're going to do. The odds are these are people that probably don't have a budget and will have difficulty keeping a budget. So not only do they need a budget, but they also need a coach. So the Power Budget is a promise and a plan. And a plan has to be an organized plan. And so whenever you set to do something, if I were to tell you that I'm going to take a vacation and I'm going to go to Europe, right? So that's my goal, my mission. My vision is to go to Europe, right? Then I need to have it laid out. How I'm going to get there? How I'm going to get? What flight am I going to take? How much is it going to cost me? How much am I going to spend there? Where I'm going to stay? What I'm going to see? I really need to have a plan to go from here to there and back. And so a budget is the same way. What is your plan? Do you have a mission and a vision statement? In many cases, and Rhea, I know you can relate to this because you have a business. You have a business. And when you decided to make that transition from working for someone to starting your own, you had to have some idea of what it was going to be. Like, I love Rhea's branding. You had to come up with that, right? You had to come up with an idea, a concept, right, on what you were going to do. And so a mission and vision statement is what most businesses have. And in a sense, families need to look at themselves really as a business. That's what really they need to do. That you have income coming in, you have expenses, and then you have a net profit. That's how businesses are run. Right. Every business that I know that's successful has a mission and a vision statement, and they have SMART goals to help them to achieve their vision. They also are being held accountable by either their stockholders or their investors or their spouse. They're being accountable to make sure that business is making money and succeeding. And then they have weekly plans because they break those long-term goals down to weekly or daily goals. And of course, they have a budget. And so that's what we're going to deal with in talking about the Power Is Now budget plan. So here's an example. Okay, go ahead.
I just want to also touch on that. And I love the point of family as a business, and that is so important. And just also touch on how we can get our children involved in that planning, because they're an integral part of what takes up our budget during their youth and adult years. And so just having the children involved, and if you can touch on anything that you have available for young adults would be helpful as well.
You know what? There is some great curriculum. There's spiritual based and we'll call it a secular based curriculums are for children on how to manage money. In fact, a good friend of mine just wrote a book about 6 months ago, and it's Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich for children. And it teaches them how to save money and the importance of money and how money works. And I highly recommend it. In fact, if you go to blogtalkradio.com/The Power Is Now, listen to that interview, type in the search, Think and Grow Rich, The Power Is Now. And I interviewed the author about it, and it's a fantastic book. You can actually get it on Amazon, Think and Grow Rich for children. It's a great way to start kids at a young age in understanding money. And I would agree with you, Rhea, that not including family, not getting the spouse on board, all the kids on board is one of the mistakes that I'll be identifying and some of the big mistakes that people make in a budget. And so that's an excellent point. Get your family involved. And this is another reason why taking an organized approach to budgeting, beginning with a mission statement, is so important. So I have on the screen not exactly my mission statement. Actually, my mission statement is very, very close in my personal budget to what I'm providing here. But this is simply an example of what a mission statement could look like for anyone who is serious about creating a budget. And it's so important that your wife, your spouse, your better half, and your children buy into this mission statement. And so here's an example. A mission statement defines who you are or who you want to be, who you're trying to become, all right? And so in this, I say, I'm a believer, I'm a husband, I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a brother. I work every day to provide for my family, to build wealth for the future, and to leave an inheritance and a legacy for my children. So that's kind of a general statement of who I am. I save 20% of my monthly earnings. I use credit for convenience only to avoid carrying cash. I am building an emergency fund equal to 12 months of my income. I plan my vacations and spending, and I do not eat out except on special occasions. I am disciplined. I am frugal. I live modestly. I do not flaunt what I have obtained. I practice humility and giving to others. I am focused on building stability for my family and being in a position to help others whenever needed. That's who I am. Now, this is an example. Your mission statement does not have to be as long. It doesn't have to be as detailed, but it should kind of set the tone for what you're trying to accomplish And it should involve your family and friends, whoever's going to be with you in this journey, to really establishing a budget and being very serious about it. What do you think about that mission statement?
Oh boy. Eating out on special occasions. Is that Wednesday? Is that a special occasion?
Eating out on special occasions, that could be, celebrations. You've been invited to something,
Yeah, no,
but
I'm just joking with you. But that is so important. And, we were just talking about meal prepping, and it's so easy when you have kids and you're in sports programs to, stop here and there for food and not really plan out. And then before you know it, those busy days add up, and there you go. You're past your spending budget for eating out. So, yeah, I totally think that, though, a mission statement does set the tone, at least, for how you'll move forward and what others in your household will expect from you.
Yes, absolutely. So you need a mission statement, which kind of tells you who you are, what you're all about, how you're living, right? And then you need a vision statement. The vision statement is a forecast of what you will achieve. If I can stay on mission, if I can stay on task, this is where I see myself. And here it is. Here's an example. I will save X number of dollars in cash for retirement. That could be, for some people, 100,000, 500,000, $1 million. You set that. And own my home, free and clear of any mortgage debt. It's so important. People need to understand that you are buying your home. You don't own your home. Nobody owns their home until they have extinguished the mortgage. You're buying that home, all right? Until you stop making payments, you do not own it. You have the benefits and rights that come with it, but just stop making the payments, and you'll see quickly that you don't own your home. And so to own your home free and clear of any mortgage debt is so important, especially when you hit your 60s or you're blessed to see your 70. The Lord only promises us what the Bible says, 70. That's 20 plus times 3 is 3. So 10 is 70 years, right? 70 years. And so you get in your 70s, and I've got an uncle that's 90, 89, 98, blessed to live that long, And the problem that many people who are retiring are having right now is they're running out of money. And so there are other solutions for that, but that's a challenge. It goes on to say, I am or will be completely debt free. And I tell you, debt is a monkey on your back. It really is. It's robbing you from your ability to save. I will be completely debt free and retire at age 65 and with dignity, and set an example for my children and to do the same thing. And so a lot of times we see in our community, Ria, we have generational poverty. We have a legacy of poverty, and from generation to generation to generation. And it has to stop, but someone has to step up where it begins. I can speak for myself. My parents came from Memphis, Tennessee. I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. They were very poor. They came here, 6 kids in a 600 square foot house in San Bernardino, California when I was 3 years old. And we all lived in one bedroom. They were another bedroom. We were poor. My father had a high school graduation. My mother, high school diploma. My mother did not. And I honestly, I look back on that. I don't know how we did it. But thank God all 7 of us are doing well, and we came through it, and our life has changed because of opportunity, education, and a number of things to stop that legacy of poverty. Now, my kids and my grandkids will never know what it is not to live in a home they don't own. Particularly my grandkids will never know that, but never see the kind of poverty that I experienced and my parents experienced. And so it's important that we achieve these goals so that we set an example for our children so they'll think, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to go to college. I'm supposed to save money. I'm supposed to, do these things. And so this goes on to say my children will have their college education paid for by me and also own a home. My grandchildren will have access to funds to pay for their education and help them purchase their first home. When I leave this earth, not too soon, I will have left an inheritance, and I've begun a legacy of wealth building that will continue with the next generation. Isn't that a great mission statement for anyone who's serious about a budget?
Definitely, definitely.
So once you have your vision statement and your mission statement, the next step is to set goals. And I tell you, show me a person with a budget, and I'll show you a person who has goals. Show me a person with a budget, and I'll show you a person who is saving money. Show me a person with a budget, and I'll show you a person who probably has good credit. Show me a person with a budget, and I'll show you a person who's probably on the verge of buying a home or ready to, or if they haven't done so already. So goals are a very big part of our life. Everything comes down to priorities and what you can accomplish. And when we become an adult, we don't have the oversight of our parents making us do the things we should do. We set our own priorities. I say this all the time, that one of the great things about being an adult is that you have freedom to do what you want to do. You are the captain of your own ship. You're the master of your own destiny. Nobody tells you what to do, when to do it, or how to do it. You are in control. And one of the challenges that come with being an adult that leads to the downfall of many is that we are the captain of our own ship. We are the master of our own destiny. Nobody can tell us what to do. Nobody can set priorities for us. We are in control, and nobody can tell us anything. And so we have to find that middle ground so that we can achieve the goals that we want to achieve. So goals are decisions, a conscious, rational choice, or a subconscious preference. Life without goals is a series of chaotic happenings you don't control. You become the plaything of coincidence instead of a vision that is being realized every single day. A good example, we all have people in our family who are always coming to us asking for money. And it's towards the end of the month. Hey, can I hold $500 to cover the rent? But all through the month, this wasn't the top of their mind. They come at the end of the month. All through the month, they spent money doing other things, and then they finally start thinking about what's really important and prioritizing things. And so we all know people like that. So SMART goals, it's an acronym. It means specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Specific, the more specific your descriptions are, the bigger chance you'll get exactly what you want. You've got to get it down to the specific. You got to know exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish. And until you can get it down to something that's very specific, then you can begin to measure it so you can see if you are achieving your goal. So measurable goals means that you can identify exactly what it is you will see, what you'll hear, what you'll feel when you reach the goal. It means breaking down your goals into measurable steps or milestones. And then attainable. Is the goal attainable? Is it something acceptable to you? So often people set goals like for losing weight. They say, okay, I'm going to lose weight. And I don't know about you, Rhea, if you've done this, I've done this, but I'm going to lose, 30 pounds this week, right? And the truth of the matter is I should have said 10 pounds, right? Not this week, maybe 10 pounds for the month, right?
Right.
Make it something that I really can do. And more importantly, that I need to be clear on why I need to lose weight or whatever it is I need to do. So is this acceptable to you? Have you weighed the effort and the time? Are you willing to put in the time exercising if it's losing weight? Are you willing to eliminate bread and sugar and all these things? Have you weighed the cost, right? Have you weighed the cost your goal will take against the profits and other obligations and priorities you have in life? So often we make commitments, we sign up for gyms at the beginning of the year, and we never make it to the gym because we really didn't think through when we can go to the gym. So it's got to be attainable.
Yes, and this applies to, when I look at the SMART goals, applies to budget, because one thing that some will start off with the budget, but not make it specific, not plan for the rainy days, the flat tires, the registration that comes annually. So all of that is very important in setting your goal for just a realistic budget that's measurable and attainable.
Absolutely, absolutely. And those are some of the mistakes that people make all the time because they really don't sit down and really think it through. The other part of SMART is so we have irrelevant goals. Is it relevant? Why do you want to reach this goal? What is your objective behind the goal? And will this goal really achieve that? For me, as a father, you know, I really just want my kids to have opportunities and my grandkids to have opportunities that I had to achieve the hard way, right? And or I want to really just change the dynamic of my family for generations to come. The other thing is that for me, I want to be comfortable when I retire. I don't want to worry about money. I don't want to struggle. I want to know. I want to be able to do things that bring enjoyment to life. And so we got to have the objective. We got to be clear on our why. And then time bound. Time is money. Everybody knows that deadlines are what makes most people move into action. So you got to install deadlines. By when, right? For yourself. You got to install deadlines. And if you don't do that, in fact, they say in management, never ask someone, an employee or subordinate, to do anything without first telling them, or after telling them what you want, you need to tell them when you want it, right? And it's important you do that because until they're clear on the deadlines, they're probably not going to get started with it. And that goes for all of us. When are you going to get it done? Do it now, right? Get started now because the devil, who is the author of procrastination, will rob you of the desire to even move forward. So we can't make excuses. We just have to start really smart goals and start achieving them. Now, in addition to having SMART goals, you also have to have an accountability partner. So I mentioned earlier about the pros and cons of being an adult, right? They're the same. The cons are just no one can tell you what to do. And having an accountability partner, for those of us who are in real estate, we have some idea of this. If you've ever hired a real estate coach, have you ever hired a coach, Ria?
No, I have not.
Okay, well, coaches.
I have. I've never hired a coach because I've actually been blessed with the opportunity to have coaches. So yes, I have had coaches in the business. I haven't necessarily hired one.
Okay, so hiring a coach or having the benefit of a coach, you see that those of us in business who've had it, we see the benefits they bring in helping us grow our business, to be more intentional about our time and getting results. But very few people have a personal coach or a life coach or someone to coach them on what they're doing in their personal life. And so the power of accountability, though, makes you humble and more thoughtful, whether it be a business coach or a personal coach. And you have to ask yourself, if you're really serious about achieving your financial goals, are you willing to humble yourself and accept the authority and judgment of someone else other than yourself regarding your money management and financial decisions? Are you willing to be vulnerable and say, this is what I'm doing? This is how I'm spending my money. This is what I'm doing. Are you willing to account for what you're doing and the goals and the obligations that you're willing to keep or you're working to keep? And that's so difficult, especially for adults. We
Right.
don't want to answer to anybody.
Right.
We answer to our parents, but we don't want to answer to, someone else, right? And
Right. Being vulnerable is very important in having accountability. I have another broker who's also an investor, and we work with each other as accountability partners. And just that first meeting and exposing your hand as far as personally, what do you pay for? How much do you spend on your kids? Well, how much do you spend on your kids? All of that takes you being vulnerable and really opening up. And what you'll find is that you're not alone in the things that you're doing. You just have to do them the right way. And having to share that with someone else, it definitely adds to basically staying on task with your goals at hand.
yeah, it really does. I believe that's why God said it's not good for man to be alone, right? We need a partner to hold us accountable, to help us, to keep us on track. I'm blessed. I've been married for 36 years. I'm telling you right now, I got married at 19. At 19, and I would not have achieved anything Absolutely nothing. I mean this as God is my witness. Getting married at 19, having a spouse, a partner at 19 matured me. It made me more serious about life, more accountable about getting things done and being responsible for others and being responsible to someone else. And so, whether you get married or you have a friend or a family member, we all need somebody that we can be vulnerable to, that we can be really honest with about what we're doing and sharing our goals. And so, being accountable is being required to explain your actions, your
Mhm.
decisions to someone else. That's the definition of accountability. Being required to be responsible for not getting the results or achieving the goals. And for those of you who are watching and you're married, you already know what I'm talking about. Don't lose your job, right? Don't not bring home the money. Don't let the lights get cut off or the water, right? Don't let the car get repoed or you cannot have you're gonna have to answer to somebody for not making the decisions, the right financial decisions you should be making. And we have all been there. We have all been there in making bad decisions and having to be accountable for those decisions. So the accountability partner is so important because the accountability partner means collaborating with someone. Creating a budget is what you're going to do with your accountability partner. And by the way, the accountability, again, in accountability, you're required to explain yourself, right? Your decisions, being responsible, right? So one person that is not always the best accountability partner can be your spouse or someone who's very, very close to you. Because emotions get into play, and you can't allow emotions. And it really has to be about business and about being accountable to the goals that you have set for yourself. And so, an ideal accountability partner is someone who is not your wife, but even though you're responsible and accountable to her or your husband, they are someone typically that you trust, that you respect, that has many of things happening in their life that you want happening in your life, that are doing the right things, to be willing to open yourself and be accountable to if they are willing to work with you to establish a budget. So that's really the ideal person because husband and wives will get in arguments and fights, sister and brothers and friends, and that personal dynamic actually gets in the way. So creating a budget with an accountability partner is the first thing you're going to do. A written plan of income and expenses for the week and for the month. You're going to create with your accountability partner a mission and a vision statement, a weekly power plan. You're going to meet monthly with your accountability partner to review your plans, and you're going to be absolutely transparent. You're going to be vulnerable. You're going to be honest. You're going to have integrity. You're not going to lie. You're going to be accountable to your accountability partner at all times. And I tell you, if you can do this, you're going to see results immediately the first week in terms of your ability to save money. And so the weekly Big Five action plan is part of the planning stage. You're gonna pick a day, of the week to do certain things, and so it's a weekly and daily action plan. Each day of the week has an important task that has to be accomplished. What gets scheduled gets done. So, what things that people don't do is they don't review their bank statements. They don't have the time. They don't even reconcile their bank statements. You have no idea that you're being charged things or that someone's even infiltrated your account because you don't take the time to review your bank statements. And so, everything that is financial needs to be scheduled. Everything needs to be scheduled. Each action item is assigned to a day of the week to be accomplished. The action item must be scheduled in your calendar. Stop using to-do lists. People write down, okay, let me put this on my to-do list. I need to do this and I need to do that. I don't know about you, Ria, but I have used to-do lists, and every time I've used a to-do list, I have never completed everything on the to-do list. Have you?
No, I keep my to-do list linked to my Google Calendar on my phone, and I put it by dates, and I swear there's just not enough hours in the day.
But it forces you, though, when you use your calendar instead of a to-do list and you actually schedule stuff that gets done, you realize then that you can't do everything. You can't get everything done. So it forces you to really prioritize. And so the to-do list is really a landing page, if you will, a page where you just throw everything on there. And then you pull from that page and you put it on your calendar, those things that are absolutely critical, that are priorities. And that's your real to-do list. What's scheduled is on your calendar. What gets scheduled gets done.
If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. Now, there's a great book by Gary Keller called The One Thing.
Yeah.
I listened to this book on Audible. I've listened to the book at least 20 times on Audible. It is one of my favorite books to read. And what I love about the main point is that they're based on the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. There's about one thing out of all the things you got listed that's going to have the biggest impact on your business, on your life, on your day. That one thing that if you can just get that thing done, all the other things would fall into place. It represents 80% of the weight of your accomplishments for that day or the goals that you need to achieve. Everything else just kind of falls in place if you get that one thing done. And so based on the one thing, what's that?
Yeah. That was a life-changing book for me. And I swear, my friends joke that I can do a million things. And what I noticed is all those million things that I was doing was taking me off of my ultimate goal. And so when I read the one thing and focused on one thing, the success that you have in meeting your goals are so much more clear and attainable. So yeah, I definitely recommend that book. It was definitely an inspiration for me.
Yeah, folks, it's called The One Thing. You can get it. In fact, go to theonething.com. There's a lot of free resources that are available to you if you're interested in learning more about the book and utilizing some of the tools. It is a game changer. When you begin to really operate with understanding the power of the one thing, then you'll see the domino effect and what that really means. And so I don't have the time. I could do a whole presentation on the one thing, but we're coming to the end of our time, so I want to definitely keep it going. So stop using to-do lists. It's a total waste of time. You've got to utilize your calendar. And then the actions must be accomplished by the end of the day. So you're breaking down your goals by week and by day. And after numerous attempts of trying to complete the task in that day or the task for that week, you have to reset your priorities. Really look at the goal again. Get back with your accountability partner, because maybe the goals and the actions, the action items attached to that particular goal are not realistic, and that you need to kind of revisit it. Because everything needs to be done by 5 o'clock. I say 5 o'clock because the truth of the matter is your one thing should be done before noontime. Your one thing, that one thing that's going to drive your results, your income, that's going to move your business forward, move the need of your business forward, should be done by 1. But so often we take care of this little stuff. We get involved in all kinds of these little minor things. And we do it intentionally because we're dreading dealing with the one thing that we really need to address that's going to have an impact on our business. And then we try to tackle those things at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And that's how you end up working 12 hours a day. That's how you end up working to 8 or 9 o'clock in the office, because you're not prioritizing the things that you should be doing. So the weekly Big 5 action plan must be in line with your goals for the month. And once you have the plan laid out, now it's time to get into the budget itself. And as we know, the devil is in the details. It's always in the details. So the first thing on every budget, like on every profit and loss statement, is the top line, making money, the revenue coming in. And I can tell you right now that if you don't make enough money, then your budget falls apart. There's the top line revenue and there are the expenses, which equals the net profit. All right. And so you have to have both. You can't have expenses and no revenue. It fails. You can't have revenue and no expenses. because it's not realistic. What are you doing? You're going to have expenses. And those expenses both are expenses relative to saving money and expenses relative to expenses, spending money on things that are necessary for life. And so let's focus for a moment here on the top line revenue. Look for things you can do to generate more money. If you have a great job, like if you're in real estate, that means you need to sell more homes. If you're in loans, you need to do more loans. If you work for somebody, then it means you need to maybe look at working overtime. Or if you're on commission, you need to do more sales. All right. And so you got to look for ways of increasing your opportunity, your income within the current opportunity you have, that job that takes the majority of your time of your day. And then if you've maxed out your income there, then you need to look at what you can do in the hours you're not at work. The first thing you can do is stop watching TV, right? So I prefer binge watching. So I don't really watch television, and I have a few movies that I like, and I get my days where I'll do something from like 11 to 3 in the morning, and I'll get it all done, right? Some of my favorite shows and get caught up. But the more money you make, the faster you can increase your savings and reduce your debt. You gotta make more money. Working overtime, getting more commissions, making more sales. I mean, that's what you're looking with. Work a part-time job if it's possible. And if you can't do a part-time job, then you'd be surprised, if you really look at that, maybe you can. But you can also leverage your talents or skills in Upwork.com or Fiverr.com. These are some online platforms that are great avenues of people who have skill sets that they're not using at work. Like, for example, I know a young lady who is an incredible artist. Oh my God. She can do anything, right? And so, but her full-time job is managing properties. She's a property manager. And so if she's not making enough money in property management, she can sell her art. She can create lithographs and sell them online. She can do pictures for people. Oh my God, when you have that artistic talent, you can make money with the God-given skills that you've been provided by the Creator. Now, you don't have to be artistic. Maybe you're just a pretty good writer. You got a really strong handle on the English language. What about writing? Writing articles. Heck, you can write articles for me, the Power Is Now magazine. Write me an article. We pay writers to write articles for our magazine. You can write someone's resume. You can do voiceovers. If you got that Barry White voice? Hello, everybody. Or, that great, pop sounding voice. You can do voiceovers for websites and for commercials. Projects, administrative. You can drive Uber. I know so many people driving Uber. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. No-brainer. Some guys do it late at night. They do airport runs. They don't do it all the time, but it puts an extra $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 in the bank. I mean, talk about getting out of debt, saving the money you need to save. And then there's shopping. We rarely go to the grocery store anymore. Do you know that there is Uber shopping? There are people that will go shopping for you, bring your groceries. We use Instacart to deliver our groceries now. I mean, house cleaning, janitorial service, babysitting, tutoring, translating. If you speak Spanish, German, French, and especially if that's your native language, you've learned English, or vice versa, your native language is English, but you took those classes, you can tutor people in speaking languages. I've been trying to learn Spanish my entire life. Oh my God. I wish I could master it. I wish I could. So those are ways that you can make money. Make money. Make or create something that you can sell legally, all right? We're not talking about illegal activities. Become a consultant in your area of expertise. Charge for your time. I do business consulting. Start an emergency fund immediately. Start an emergency fund immediately. And all the money you make from these extracurricular activities goes into your emergency fund, all right? That's where they go. It is your first line of expense. It's in the first line. Let me tell you something. Talk to anybody who's lost their job and had to find a new job, and it took them a while. They wish they had an emergency fund. Talk to anybody who ran over something and all four tires are flat, and it cost them $1,000 they didn't have, and they couldn't make the rent. Now they're behind on the rent. I mean, I'm telling you, these monies, this extra income that you're generating is money to be saved and to be used for emergencies and towards other goals to one day home ownership. Saving money comes after paying your rent and mortgage. You got to have a roof over your head. You do. You got to have a roof over your head. So after paying rent, then you pay your savings. And if you cannot save money because your rent is too high, or even your mortgage if you own a home, then you have to downsize. There's no question about it, because saving money is your number one priority. Now, Rhea, anything you want to comment on that? I see you thinking.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with it all. And that was one of the points that I was thinking of as you were going down the bullet list, is having that notion that sometimes you do need to downsize, and it's okay, because you are sacrificing for an ultimate goal.
That's right. That's right. It is totally okay. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. It's okay. The Joneses probably don't own a house either. So, get yourself together, right? So the goal should be to save 20% of your net income. 20% of your net income, right? And that's going to be tough, especially if you're tithing and you're giving 10%. Now you're looking at 30%. You say, "Oh my God, Eric, that is no way possible."
That's not part of it. No, I'm just kidding.
See there. Oh, yeah, right. No, 10% comes right off the top, right? For tithing. Then you got 20%. That's for you. That's for you. And so now you think about it. When you think about taking 30% off the top, I don't know. So you make $3,000 a month net. So 30%, that's $900 right off the top. So now you're working with what, $2,100. Out of that $2,100, you got to pay rent, you got to buy food and groceries, you got to have gas and transportation expenses. You got to make it work. And so if the mortgage is so big that you can't do that, then you have to downsize the mortgage. If the rent is so large you can't do that, and you have to find cheaper rent. Maybe partner up with somebody. But, saving money is your number one priority. The emergency fund is so important. And one of the things that you can do if you are building your credit, you can kill two birds with one stone by establishing a Visa savings accounts. So you get a line of credit that is based on how much you put in the bank. And so you're building savings. I had one client that's on our homeownership program, our Never Rent Again homeownership by our home buyers club. She had no money, bad credit. So the first thing we started doing is helping her to break out of the budget, money she could save. And so she was a person of integrity. She started doing that. And the first thing she did when she got paid is went to the bank and opened up a Visa savings. Every time she got paid, she made a Visa savings account based on what she's supposed to save. And she had like 4 Visa savings accounts. She was able to achieve that, 4 of them at $500 limits, up to $2,000 she had saved over a 2-month period, and established 4 new accounts that was raising her score. And because of the weight of good credit that represents over the bad credit she has, was raising her score. And so if you have an accountability partner, they're going to hold you accountable to doing this. This is so important because saving money is your first line of your expenses. We've talked about, creating income, extra income from the job or outside activities. Now we're dealing with expenses, and the first line of expense, and it's really not an expense technically, but we're calling it an expense, is putting money into a savings account. And so that's the first thing. So another thing too now, and we're talking about expenses, and we are talking about expenses though in the context of saving money, right? So we're making savings like an expense. And one way to save more money is to eliminate the car payment. Sell it sell it. If you're financing a car, get rid of that car. If you are blessed to have money set aside to bring to the table, because you know when you drive a car off the lot, it's not worth maybe 60 to 70% of what you pay for it. If you're lucky and it's worth maybe 90%, and you can bring in $5,000 or $10,000 to pay off the loan because someone's willing to pay you 90% of what you pay for it, do it. Get rid of car payments. It is the number one killer. I had to tell a family yesterday that we can't issue a pre-approval because they have $1,200 in car payments. They might as well be living in their car. Add $1,200 in car payments, plus they're spending already $1,800 a month in rent. That's $3,000 of money just being thrown, literally thrown away. Thrown away. Financing a car is almost as bad. In fact, I would say it's equally as bad as paying rent. Another thing you can do is to stop your 401k or any retirement plans you have. And I know for those of you who are working for big companies and they're matching it, up to 3% and all kinds of great things. If you've been in it for a minute, great, keep it there. Don't pull the money out and create some taxable event. I'm not telling you to do that. What I am telling you to do is stop participating immediately. Stop the madness. The 401k was based on this idea that you save the money while your income is high, and then when you retire, your income is dropping significantly. And so you begin to take distributions, and then you're only taxed on what you take out, and it'll be at your tax rate when you retire, which will be at a much lower tax rate. Well, what the bright guys who thought they had a bright idea failed to think about the fact of inflation, the cost of living, and increased taxes. And so do you think people who started life 65 years ago are paying the same tax rate they were 65 years ago? No, they're not. Taxes are higher. Not only that, do you think that over the next 20 or 30 years when you're ready to retire, that your cost of living is going to be the same as it is now? No, it is not. It's going to take more money. The idea that it's going to take more money to maintain the same standard of living you have now than when you retire. Our goal now is not to be making less money. You need to be thinking about how do you keep making more money until you die. The idea of making less money is not only not realistic, but you don't even have to be on this earth too long to realize that it doesn't make any sense to plan to be able to take your distribution at a lower tax rate when you're really going to be at a higher tax rate when you retire. Not only that, but what happens when you start a 401k, Rhea, I've seen this happen to so many people. Things happen. They have to go into the 401k. They have to borrow the money to get to it. So now that payment comes right out of their paycheck. So now their net income is even less. Forget about trying to save money because now you're having to pay back the money you borrow from your 401k to meet some event. Someone died, something happened. And so that's why you have to do it. And so not only that, but just general expenses.
Yeah, also, Eric, when I was in the mortgage industry before real estate, one thing that I would notice when I see those come across on applications, people don't realize that those payments show up on your paycheck stubs and are counted against you in your debt to income ratio. So some people don't even think about that as being an additional debt on their when they're trying to purchase a house.
You're absolutely right. Some lenders will count it, some lenders will not count it. But here's the reality. It is a debt. Whether they count it or they don't count it, it is a debt that you're having to pay back in order to prevent a taxable event. The fact that you're paying back your own money is irrelevant. You have to pay it back. Otherwise, you're going to get a tax bill of 30% plus a 10% penalty if you don't put that money back. And so how much sense does that make to establish a 401k or an IRA or any type of deferred tax account when you don't have an emergency fund? If something were to happen tomorrow, you would have to go into that fund to be able to deal with that issue. It makes no sense. Don't listen to the so-called certified financial planners driving you into this. They simply are wrong. The other thing, too, is premium cable. I know people who are spending $300, $400, $500 a month in cable because they're into sports and all kinds of things. And cable is just a total waste of money. Now, if you're smart, you can get into the programs you really like, do a complete, drop the cable, do things online. You have your internet. Oh, we all have to have internet. So you got 25 to 50 bucks a month you're spending on having internet. So you need that to have access to the world, right? And then it's much better to get your favorite channels on an app, and do it that way. You don't need to be watching TV that much anyway, right? And so find your favorite programs, buy the app, and watch it on the internet, right? And save yourself $300 a month. I tell you, or just stop watching, period, and read. Get Audible, listen, and read.
I can't believe how high the cable bills have gotten. I remember, it's ridiculous.
It's out of control. Another thing is eliminate gym memberships, right? Especially for those of you who are empty nesters. I got 4 empty bedrooms. All right. So I can have a gym. I can go down, buy the equipment I need, and work out. Now, am I going to do it? No. I do have a gym, by the way, and I fell off the wagon about 8 months ago because I injured myself, and it has been so hard getting back to it. But I'm so happy I'm not throwing away $50, $60 a month on a gym membership that I'm not using. And that's what a lot of people are doing. Eliminate club memberships, wine club, book clubs, service clubs, diners clubs, anything that is taking your money automatically out of your account and you're not utilizing them things. Stop the madness, folks. Quit signing up for stuff, right?
Okay. I just joined Orange Theory. It's like $120 a month. I only went the day that I signed up.
You know what? Confession is good for the soul. You are forgiven, my child. Go and sin no more. My goodness. We're all guilty of this.
Yeah.
Because we buy an emotion and we don't have a plan. And that's what happens. What happens? We make financial decisions because we don't really see. We don't see the vision that we have for ourselves. We don't really see where we're going to be at the end of the month. We don't even know where we're going to be at the end of the month. And so we do things throughout the month that rob us of saving the money we should save, building the wealth we should be building, achieving the goals we should be achieving. Stop buying coffee at Starbucks. Oh my God. You know what, man? I do coffee. I will admit, I will hit Starbucks up, especially if I've got a long road back and I'm tired and I need to stay awake. And so I'll get a chai tea, latte, soy, double with a double espresso shot. It's supposed to be called a dirty chai, right? And double shot. So that's what I'll get to keep you awake on the road. But that doggone thing with 2 shots is $6 for a cup of coffee, right? Isn't that ridiculous? There are some people who are going to Starbucks in the morning and in the afternoon and at the end of the day. Right. They need to buy stocks in Starbucks. Seriously, they should own them because they're investing in the growth of the company. You probably should buy some stock in Starbucks if you're spending that much on coffee. And then the other thing is take public transportation, whatever is possible. I did a study. In fact, the last time I was down there with you, Rhea, and we had lunch, I was doing Uber. I took Uber from the airport, took Uber to the hotel, and I just did Uber the whole time I was down there. And then the last time I was down there, I rented a car. And I was actually doing a study. I tracked my expenses. And I thought, okay, what is more inexpensive for me, to Uber around or to take a rental car? Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, the Uber was cheaper. It was cheaper for me because I get the insurance when I rent a car. I am not going to be penny wise and dollar foolish. I'm just not. And people know it's expensive, it's a ripoff. You have your own insurance, it has collision. Yes, but my deductible is $1,000. And honestly, I don't want to deal with it. My time is worth more than having to deal with the whole thing. I'd rather pay the extra $4 or $5 a day and be able to walk away if I get in a car accident. So I get the full package when I rent a car every time I do it. And so renting a car is more expensive for me than utilizing Uber or public transportation when I'm traveling. The other thing too is that when you utilize public transportation or Uber or something like that, you don't have insurance to work about. You don't have to worry about putting gas in the doggone thing. You don't have to worry, right? You don't even worry about parking. I spent I don't know how much money in parking when I was renting my own car. So something to think about. Okay, another thing is start packing lunch. You mentioned that earlier. Cooking at home. Stop buying clothes that you don't need, jewelry you don't need, shoes you don't need. Back in the heyday, back in 2000, early 2000, before the great financial crash at 2008, you know what? I was making a lot of money like all of us. And I had my Rolexes and my $150,000 Mercedes Benz, and I was just showing off. That's what I was doing. And I look back on that, it was so stupid. I'm telling you, so stupid. Who needs to be leasing a $150,000 car? Who needs to be buying a $40,000 watch? Really, on your arm. On your arm.
Oh,
Stop.
obviously you did at the time.
You know what?
You had to live one time, Eric.
That's what I was telling myself, right? I'm making a lot of money. I want to enjoy life. And you know what? And I was saving a lot of money too. But when it crashed, I had saved a ton of money and it wasn't enough. One thing I learned through the great financial crisis, you cannot save enough money. I thought I had enough money, but that doggone period went way longer than I expected, right? And I was not able to replace my income right away back to my pre-great financial crisis levels. And so I was seriously impacted, and so were a lot of my friends, and we all learned. And now today, I don't even wear a watch. My phone, I don't need two timepieces. My phone tells me what time it is, right? I don't even wear a watch, and I don't drive fancy cars. I may drive a fancy car, but I don't have debt or car debt like that. So it's we live and learn the hard way, some of us. And I'm trying to tell my home buyers, my future home buyers, and young people, don't get caught up with the ego of it all and buying the fancy shoes and red bottoms and Gucci purses and all the expensive clothes, and you don't have any money in the bank. You haven't even established an emergency fund. You don't even own a home, and you're spending all that kind of money. Limit your entertainment to once a week, or maybe once a month. Watch movies at home. So much cheaper to watch movies at home. You go to the theater, you're going to spend $50 in popcorn and soda. What is it, $20 for a bucket of popcorn, right? Wait till it comes on video. These days, a lot of movies are going on video right away.
Right.
So it's just cheaper. Stop paying for any internet programs or service if you can't pay it for the whole year, all right? And it has to be something of real value to you. This is especially for those of us who are in business, because on Facebook every day you'll get somebody trying to sell you something to sign up, and it only costs you $20 a month. Now you've signed up for 10 of those things, and it's $200 a month. Cut your credit cards up. You only need really one. Two at the most. Start using your debit cards. Eliminate department store cards. You don't need them at all. That 10% break you're going to get for using a Nordstrom's card is not worth it. First of all, what you're buying is way overpriced. The only reason why it costs what it costs is because of credit. Let me tell you, if the fashion industry, the clothing industry, if the consumer credit industry went through the same crisis that the real estate mortgage industry went through, then you would see these $100 shirts and $500 dresses drop to 10% of their value. Credit is what's keeping the industrial, fashion complex up and running. Stop using your credit cards as income replacement. It is only a convenience to carry cash. That's what it is. And then, more important, this is the most important thing I can say in regard to expenses. You got collection accounts, you have charge-offs, you have derogatory credit, unless they have served you and you got to be in court next week, all right? Unless you have been served and you got to be in court next week to get a judgment against you for the money you owe, do not pay them a single penny. Do not pay them a single penny. Your number one priority is not to pay off your collections or your charge-offs or your derogatory credit. Your number one priority is to put that money in the bank. It has to be put in the bank. Establish your emergency fund, establish your savings plan. And once you have achieved that goal, then you start working on paying off debt. Unless they start taking some type of legal action, then you settle with them. And by the time you get your savings up, you'll be able to settle most of these derogatory credit items at 50% of what they say you owe, in some cases, even less than that. When I'm working with someone to help them reestablish their credit, the first thing they all want to do is start paying off collection accounts. And I'll tell you, that is the last thing you need to be worried about. You give that $500 to that collection agency, trust me, they're not going to be there for you when you don't have the money to pay the rent, or you got to buy a new tire for your car. They do not, they're done. They've already done the damage they're going to do. They've hit your credit report. They're on it. They're not going away. Don't spend money to credit agencies who promise you they'll get rid of your judgments and your charge-offs and your collection accounts. Just give them $80 to $100 a month and they'll take care of it. It is a bona fide lie, not the truth. That stuff gets sold. That account that they just got rid of they didn't realize why they were disputing it, that it was in the process of being sold to another collection agency, and now it's going to be reported under a different name, but the same creditor. They don't realize that sometimes it comes off because the credit agency doesn't have the time to even deal with disputing it, but they'll get to it. And when they get to it, it goes right back on. So, stop paying off collection accounts, stop dealing with derogatory credit, period, by making disputes. It does not work.
And that comes up a lot, Eric, with the initial home buying consultation. And I always recommend that my clients speak with a mortgage consultant first. And that's the benefit of working with someone like yourself to do a pre-approval, is to find out where you stand. Sometimes people make assumptions that they have to pay off their collections or any bad credit before they even talk to you, when it's not even necessary. So let the experts give you the consultation, and don't assume yourself that you have the fix, because you may be in a better position to buy than you know.
Absolutely. Well said. It's so important you sit down with a mortgage counselor and also with a HUD-approved counseling agency. They do a great job in educating people about budgeting and saving monies and dealing with credit. But one thing they also do that unfortunately credit agencies do, who make these claims about improving your credit, is that HUD counselors will advise their clients to pay off collections and debts like that. And that, I'm telling you, is not the right strategy. The damage has been done. Unless they're taking legal action against you, your number one priority is to save money first. Build your savings, and then we'll start to prioritize what part of that savings can go towards negotiating the elimination or reduction or the payment arrangements to add to your debt ratio, the payoff of a collection. And by the way, as a side note, in getting pre-approved, I can't tell you, Rhea, how many times I've been able to make arrangements with a collection agency for payments. So now they have to make 3 payments so that it's legitimate before we can actually start get them approved. We got to have a history of them making payments on that new arrangement. But they didn't have to spend no money to some agency to get rid of it. All they had to do is make payment arrangements, and we negotiated a payment so it wouldn't affect their debt ratio and their ability to get pre-approved. So people think you need to have 620 or 680, 640 FICO scores to get approved for an FHA loan. You only need a 580 FICO score for an FHA loan. If you're a veteran, 550 for a VA no money down loan. So there's so much misinformation. That's why I do these live events like we're doing right now. It's just a ton of misinformation out there, people being taken advantage of. So let me wrap up on the essential expense lines. We've talked about the income and the expenses. What's listed here: life insurance, disability insurance, renter's insurance, health insurance, car insurance, maintaining your household. These are essential expense items you need to have. Dental insurance, you need to maintain your car. People go out and buy new cars, not because they really want a new car, because they failed to maintain the car they have. Nobody really wants a car payment of $500 or $600 a month. And so we need to be more proactive and intentional about maintaining our cars so they don't have to go out and get in debt and buy a car. taking care of your yard. I mean, if you don't take, whether you're renting or owning, if you own, don't bring your value down your property by taking care of your car and your lawn and your yard. If you're renting a house, you're going to get hit. You're not going to get your deposit back if you're not taking care of the house. And then accounting and tax preparation. You need to be preparing all year. You should be getting QuickBooks for personal. Track your expenses. Don't wait till the last minute to get ready for your taxes. Increase what your deductibles might be. That tax refund check could go towards your emergency fund. Or you should bring home more money now. Forget about a tax refund so you can start saving more money now. Car registration, you got to plan for that. That's so important. Car registration and all the expenses relative to cars. You need to deal with that and know what you've got. So the mistakes we make is just not educating. We not estimating how much you need to spend, not having a budget, forgetting to save for unexpected expenses, having unrealistic expectations about what you're doing, basing your budget on your gross income and not on your net income. We do that in lending. I don't know why we do that. We qualify you on your gross income. So I tell people all the time, just because you qualify for $400,000 doesn't mean you can afford it. If you do a budget, the truth is you can only afford a $300,000 house. Not considering cheaper alternatives. Does everything have to be brand, right? Buying or renting too much house. People are either renting too much house or they're buying too much house, and now they live for their house. Not tracking your expenses, neglecting emergency planning, forgetting about non-reoccurring expenses, once a year things, not expecting the really bad stuff to happen because it will happen, not budgeting time. You need to budget time. When are you going to look at your finances and understand what you're going? And then having too many financial accounts, from gym memberships to credit cards, you're just killing yourself. And then not adjusting your variable expenses. Are you looking at what you're spending on your utilities? Are you turning off the lights? Do you really need to buy? Is your food budget really should it be that? Cut out the junk and the expensive stuff. Are you using budgeting software? Are you trying to keep up with your friends? Every time they want to go out on a weekend and spend money, you don't have to go. You just don't have the money to go. These are mistakes that people make. And then the thing you mentioned earlier, dictating the family budget. Everybody needs to be in on this. Everybody. Everybody needs to agree this is how we're going to be showing up every day to live. And on top of that, not taking money, you get the emergency fund established, or you got little Johnny's college funds, you start dipping in that. And then, of course, depriving yourself of fun money, you do need to budget entertainment, right? Have fun. Or do you even think you don't need a budget? I don't really need a budget. I make enough money. I do what I want to do. And it's just immaturity, and it's not really being serious. So one way you can get on track is get some tools. You can go to Excel. If you have Windows or Microsoft 10, go to online Excel. There are Excel spreadsheets that are great budgets that will show how you're spending money graphically. And this is the manual way of doing it. So if you're an Excel expert and you like doing things manually with Excel, there are programs that you can download for free, cost you nothing, great Excel budget worksheets. If you would like some recommendations, I have about 5 different budget worksheets from Excel that I recommend to all my clients. The other one is Mint.com. Mint.com is what I use personally. I use it for my personal budget, and I use it for my business. I use actually QuickBooks for my business. I use QuickBooks Payroll and QuickBooks for Business online. So I have my budget on my phone. I can tell you right now exactly how much money I've spent to the penny on entertainment, on gas, on eating out, on groceries. I can tell you to the penny right now, this very minute, because I use a budgeting software called Mint.com. I highly recommend that everyone take advantage of it. All right, that concludes the presentation. Are there any questions, Ria, in Facebook, or do you have any questions? I know we've gone longer than you normally go, but there's a lot to this budget thing, right?
Right. But their budget is no easy thing. There was a question, I think I posted it in the comments, about a YouTube channel for more videos. So I did post a link.
Okay.
And then also, you mentioned coaching for budget. Is there something you can share with our Facebook audience regarding getting that started?
Yes. So what we have, if you go to Never Rent Again, and I'm going to see if I can pull that up here. If you go to neverrentagain.com, neverrentagain.com, that is our platform for budgeting, and it is a great program, I think, because we help people where they are. You know, we help people where they are. We start with their current situation. So I'm going to share my screen one more time here. And if you go to thepowersnow.com, and this is our homepage. This is our homepage. And then under membership, you see the Home Buyers Club. And another way to get there is just typing in Never Rent Again. In the Home Buyers Club, we have, there's the Power Budget. And so this very presentation I provided today, you can watch it again right here on the website, the Power Budget. And we have a free membership, and that free membership allows you to participate in our live Facebook and YouTube programs. Get your questions answered. I'm live every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Learn about our loan programs, down payment assistance programs. Listen to our weekly radio program. Also receive our magazine, our real estate magazine, radio magazine, and learn about various things that are happening in the real estate industry and about buying a home. And then you get a free one-time counseling meeting for a budget and a savings plan. And so it takes about 1 hour. And so we will schedule it, a 1 hour counseling meeting, and I will set you up on mint.com. There's a free aspect of mint.com. There's a paid version of mint.com. All you need is a free version, all right? Mint.com. And so we will set you up with a budget on mint.com, and within that budget, we'll create a savings plan. And then we'll do a free one-time counseling meeting for a debt elimination plan and a credit restoration plan. And so for the credit restoration and debt elimination plan, you have to apply. You go to applytobuynow.com, where you will complete a mortgage application, run your credit. And so under getting you pre-approved, we're going to tell you exactly where you are with your FICO score and with your debt. We're going to run what-if scenarios and the credit analyzer provided by the credit bureaus to show you exactly what you need to do to increase your FICO score. And then we'll put you on a plan to do that very thing. And so the goal here, once you've completed about 2 hours of free counseling with us, you're going to have a solid plan to become a homeowner, to save money, to improve your credit score, and you're going to change your way of living. You're going to really take a hard look at how you're living through the budget plan. And then if you need more help, if you're just struggling with staying on task, then you have the free budget, the pay plan. For just $97 a month, there's a one-time setup fee of $237. And then it's $97 a month. You have an assigned coach that will hold you accountable. Every month you meet for about 45 minutes, and we actually go over the plan, the budget, the spending. We become your accountability partner, and we hold you accountable. This is not for everybody because it's serious business. If you don't show up on time, we cancel you. If you miss a meeting, we cancel you. It's very, very strict because it's very time consuming, right? And the $97 doesn't begin to pay for the time of the counselor and meeting you. It's just to really hold you accountable of being serious about budgeting and being willing to be vulnerable and have yourself held accountable to achieving all the goals that we will set. So you'll actually have a plan, and you'll be held accountable every single month to achieving that plan. And we have people in the program, and they start off, Rhea, they start off not liking it because it is serious. Mm-hmm. But they realize they need it, and so they stick with it. And after a time, they really appreciate it because they know they wouldn't be where they are if it wasn't for somebody staying on them like this. And so it's something that we make available to everyone.
Great. So, yeah, I just wanted to end and make sure that if they didn't catch it earlier, that our Facebook family has the opportunity to take advantage of this benefit, so that if you're tuning in, you're probably most likely looking to put your budget together or improve on your budget. So this is definitely something that I would advise you to take advantage of. And if you have your budget in order and you're looking to purchase a home and want to get started, Eric can start you off with your pre-approval. And Eric, how can they contact you in order to get that pre-approval started?
The best way to contact me is directly on cell at 714-475-8629. And I'm totally connected. So if I'm on the phone with a client, it will go to voicemail. All right. But it may be picked up by my assistant. And if it's not picked up by my assistant, your voicemail will be transcribed and I will get email correspondence. And so please provide not only your telephone number, but your email address, and I will call you back right away. Or you can schedule an appointment to talk with me. If you go to my website, thepowerisnow.com, on the homepage, at the bottom of the screen on the homepage, you'll see a calendar. And there's a section for mortgage consultation. And so you can pick the time that's convenient for you. I meet with people 6 days a week and sometimes Sunday via Zoom. And we use this very platform that Rhea and I are using to meet with clients up and down the state of California. And so when you go to my calendar, you'll see an opportunity there to download Zoom, and we can meet face-to-face by video, or we can set up a telephone appointment, or if you use Skype or any other video platform, we can use that as well. You can also go to applytobuynow.com and just get started if you're ready to get started. And we do the entire process from the application to the credit report completely online. And we can turn your pre-approval around very, very quickly within 48 to 72 hours, depending on how quickly you're able to get us your financial documentation. So, but main thing, call me and let's talk about your situation, your goals. Let me help you achieve the American dream. And the power is now to do it. It really is.
Thank you so much, Eric. That was such valuable information. And I really appreciate you taking the time on this Saturday, lovely Saturday to afternoon, to join us for Credit and Cocktails. And we hope to have you back again on Credit and Cocktails, or even our Lunch and Learns in the near future.
It would be my pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity, Rhea. I appreciate your partnership, and I love what you're doing. And I am here for you. And your team, as well as your clients.
Thank you. And thank you for all the Facebook family that's out tuning in. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Saturday afternoon. Cheers.